And welcome to this evening's presentation. My name is Tammy Severino, and I am the Director of Development and Marketing, the consultant to La Fuerza CDC, a nonprofit serving Long Island's business community, helping small and minority-owned businesses to get the technical assistance and access to capital that they need to help their businesses thrive. Tonight's presentation is on public relations, and I am going to share my screen and we will get started. What I would ask is if you have any questions, you can either put them into the chat or you can hang on until the end of the program and I will take questions. You can either take yourself off of mute, pop them in the chat, or I will have my contact information at the end of the program for you so that if you have questions following the program, you can reach out and I'm happy to answer. So as I said, tonight's program is public relations for your small business. This is a primer to get you started in the area of PR. So for those of you who have taken any of my other classes, you know that I always like to start with a definition so that we're all on the same page. And tonight is no different. The definition of public relations, according to the Public Relations Society of America, is a strategic communication process that builds mutually beneficial relationships between organizations and their publics. So PR is very intentional. It has activities that are designed to build and maintain a positive reputation in the public for a person or business. Okay, I'm going to ask everyone who's on if you can please mute yourself. That would be great. Okay, so public relations, commonly known as PR, helps your business to build and maintain a positive public image to the public. It's a form of communication that lies fully in effective dialogue. So that means how well you communicate what you want out there is part of what will determine the relationships that you'll build and the image that you portray. So a key goal of PR is exposure to audiences on topics of public interest and placement of news items that do not require direct payment. So this is where it varies from advertising, where you can control your content, put it out there, and you pay for it. Same thing with marketing. It is a paid effort, whereas PR, you do not make payments for. If it's done well, PR can help you achieve your marketing objectives. So for those of you who've been in other classes, we've talked about different objectives that you will set for your marketing efforts. And if this is done well, it's going to help you to achieve those objectives for both your business or for you if you are the focus of the PR at a fraction of the cost, because like anything, there is some cost to the effort itself. And it is going to help reduce those costs versus paid advertising. The key to PR success is the creativity in the messaging. Your PR tasks should be newsworthy. They should communicate the desired message that you want out there. And you have to look at things from the mindset of the recipient to make sure that it is something you can see them finding of interest. We'll talk more about that as we go on. So paid versus DIY. So large companies and even some small businesses often invest in a PR firm or a marketing and PR person who will take care of their PR efforts as part of their overall strategy, the campaigns, the efforts, and designing that strategy. However, if your budget is small, Or if you have almost no budget at all, then you want to go the DIY, do it yourself route. It's going to take an investment of time. I know if you were building a house, they call that sweat equity. It makes perfect sense in this scenario as well. You have to get to know the techniques and put some time into it, but it can be a very effective way for you to help build and maintain your brand, whether that is for you personally or your business or a combination. So with little and in some cases, no investment, small businesses throughout the United States are conducting PR campaigns every single day. For entrepreneurs and small businesses, this is a really effective tool in getting recognition for your business so that you can compete with your larger competitors. So to succeed in your efforts, you're going to need some practical skills, some strategies that are aimed at enhancing your business's reputation. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So one thing that is critical for you to be aware of is the growth of media sources, because you're going to be putting information out into the media. And most people think of the media as the local newspaper, like a Newsday. They think of the radio. They may think of television, like a News 12. However, the expanding and evolving definition of media includes other sources now beyond those traditional news outlets. So you have bloggers, you have podcast hosts, you have YouTubers, you have online publications, and there's so many more. And each year there are new ones that are becoming significant players in the marketplace. So that means that you have more opportunities for the placements you are seeking to get through target audiences with your PR efforts. So we're going to talk a little about PR versus marketing. There are 4 key differences between PR and strict marketing. So the first one is credibility. People have a tendency to be more skeptical of advertising and marketing claims that are made in ads. So people do have more trust in sources that are their trusted news sources. So TV, radio, newspapers, like I said, podcasters, people are very dedicated to the sources that they turn to on a daily basis. So publicity is often considered a promotion that is veiled as news or feature efforts or editorial pieces that are on in news sources, but it is something that is given more credibility by the end user, the consumer of that news. So that's a real plus. Now, control is something that you have less of in PR. With advertising or marketing, you have near total control over every aspect of the message that you are putting out there. The content, the size, the format, when it's going to hit in the papers or be on TV, because you are paying for that service. And so it is exact to your specifications. PR is the opposite to that. So you can write wonderful content and send it out in a press release, pitching a story, but you have no control over how it's printed, when it's printed, if they used all of it or part of it. So that is one thing that is something you need to be aware of. So appeal. PR efforts, because you're paying for an ad, whatever you put in there, that's what's going in. But PR needs kind of an angle. So the messaging has to appeal to the intended audience. And that's what I was talking about earlier, that if you are sending something out to a reporter, you have to think of whether or not that reporter is going to look at this and say, wow, that's pretty interesting. I want to cover that story. So ads are targeting sales prospects. They're not designed to reach the broader audience, which PR will do. It should appeal to the intended audience, whether that's the media or broad scale consumers or consumers in a particular industry or a particular location. So you have a little bit more appeal, a little bit more broader audience, but you need to have that appeal for it to get picked up. And then repetition. Advertising is repeatable. If you create an ad for a sale that's going to run for a month, you can have that ad run every single day for a month. It's replicable. However, PR is not repeatable. Any given media source will cover an event or print a release one time. So where you want traction is getting multiple locations to pick it up, but it's only going to get picked up one time for each given release or each given event that you are trying to invite people to be at. PR, it is important to understand that PR is earned media. You're not paying for it, you've earned coverage. And a lot of that earned piece is through the relationship building that you've done. And we're going to talk a lot about relationship building, or that you're doing something that is of interest to the news sources in the community. So because of this, PR is an effective way to enhance and maintain your reputation. So you have to keep in mind brand management, your reputation management. PR is a very, very important piece of that. And it's ongoing. The way your reputation is in the marketplace today could change next week or next year or anytime down in the future. So part of what you are doing with PR is an ongoing effort to maintain your reputation. And by your, that could be you as the business owner, or it could be your business overall. But it, like anything related to reputation, it can take years to build a strong reputation. And you can lose your reputation quickly. So it is not something to be squandered, as I have written here. It is something to be really handled with kid gloves and tended to. And PR is one of the ways that you can tend to that reputation management. So one of the things I always like to talk about is time. This takes time. It's not a one and done, and you don't necessarily see immediate results. It's something you're building as you go. So small businesses are often very impatient when it comes to their PR because you're working on smaller budgets. So you want to see a right now effect on the dollars that you've spent or on the time that you've spent. And I understand that, but you need to accept and embrace the idea that PR takes a while to produce results. And if you think of it as part of a long-term marketing strategy, your PR is a piece of that marketing, then you can, I think then it's easier to internalize the idea that this is going to be ongoing and that it's going to build as you go. A really important note, creating your credibility or the credibility for your business takes time. So it is part of that brand recognition and building of trust. So goals, your PR efforts should seek to, over time, enhance your credibility and also then increase your sales. Those are your two overarching goals. Everything else comes under those two. And it's going to be a timepiece. People don't just meet you today and say, I trust you forever. It's something that goes on. So we're going to talk about right now tips for starting your campaign. And PR is about relationships. Successful PR builds trust between your clients, your customers, and you and your business. So building positive relationships with media outlets is really important, and pick the ones that make sense for your business. So if you are a local dry cleaner, you want to build trust and relationships with the local newspapers. Or perhaps you are an accounting firm, a small accounting firm that is in a local neighborhood. Again, those local guys are going to make sense for you, as well as industry media. So things that are in finance, accounting, all of that space. And it is critical to develop trust with those media outlets. It's also really, really important that you respond to them in a timely fashion. Remember that reporters who are writing stories are on deadlines, and they may be calling to find out if they can get a quote from you, get your feedback on a story they're covering. And if you don't respond, they may not call you again. So the idea is to get back to them and tell them what you think or even that you can't help with this story, that it's not relevant to what you're doing. At least that response lets them know when they should and shouldn't reach out to you for assistance. Now, remember that those relationships are more than just those with reporters. The relationships are with other influencers around your business. So you have local politicians who can be incredibly influential. You have your local chamber of commerce, and on Long Island, either they're for individual communities or they're for clusters of communities that operate as a unit. But those chambers of commerce can be very influential. Depending on what you're doing, you may find local social media influencers who can really benefit you by sharing a story or something of what you're putting out there for your PR. And then think about who else can benefit your business. So if you have a local pet shop and there is a well-known dog, he might be a therapy dog or whatnot, who could be almost your spokes dog with his or her owner. So those are people who are followed at events, in local press, and they can be beneficial to you in helping you to get your name out there. So make sure that these are people who can rely on you. Not that you're looking to rely on them. Part of relationships is giving before you take. So make sure that there's something that you're offering to help them with. And then as you go forward and there's trust in that relationship, they can be a source of help for you and your business. The next thing is be compelling. So if you want a reporter, an influencer, or a blogger to write about your business, you need to tell a good story. So storytelling is really an art form. It's something you need to practice. If you're talking about a great story, something that your business did, and someone was going to interview you, you have to be able to tell that story in a meaningful way with a smile and your eyes twinkling. Practice in front of a mirror. See how you look when you tell a story. And is it something you can envision someone else being interested in? Focus on unique elements of your business or something that you've done in the past or that you're planning to do, a whole new piece for your business. If your business gives back in the community, highlight that. If you offer a unique experience or product, talk about that. You have to think of the reporter or the influencer or the blogger. What are they going to find exciting to write about? They're not going to write about the fact that your business got a little bigger this year, not unless they're doing a story that shows growth in a particular kind of business all over New York or all over the country, or they're talking about small businesses that have experienced growth or experienced challenges because of something like the pandemic. So think of the things that make your business unique. Really important tip for your PR campaign is to be an expert. So one of the most common techniques for getting into the press is self-promotion about your expertise. So here is where you are going to position yourself as an expert so that you can be quoted by reporters or bloggers who are consistently looking in the community, in industry.
Tammy must have been bumped off. She'll She'll come back on. We'll let her in.
My apologies, everyone. Zoom decided I didn't belong in the meeting for a moment, so I am back. And let me share my screen again. I am so sorry for that. Okay, so here I am. We were talking about being an expert. So the example that I was in the middle of giving is for a gift shop owner to have prepared something about holiday gift giving, or like I had just said, Father's Day just passed, doing something about top trends in gifts for Father's Day. So in addition to printing the item, the reporters will likely take note that you are an expert on gift giving. And when they have future stories on that topic or other relevant news, they may likely reach out to you to ask for a quote, to ask for some background information that they can cite you in the story. So be sure this article is going out to all your relevant media, and even posted on your own website, where it can be then promoted on your social media so that you're driving the story as well. Potential story ideas are valuable to the media, and at the same time, they are positioning you as an expert that they need to know, because you've now also put out these story ideas, and that is critical for them. So another piece for starting your campaign is Heyro, Help a Reporter Out. It is a remarkable site. It is free, so you should subscribe to that. You will choose the areas of relevance that you want to be briefed on each day, and you're going to get emails twice a day, usually at noontime and then again around 4 or 5 o'clock. Respond, scroll through, see what the topics are. What they will list is anywhere from 10 to 30 reporters who are looking for someone who can help them with a story they are writing. So here you are being given the opportunity right off the bat to be an expert. So you can respond. They're going to ask you to fill out your name, your business, they may ask you how long you've been in business or in that field, and then which story you're responding to, and they will get back to you if they need more details, or they'll have a spot for you to put in your response to their query. So it might be on business trends related to your area of expertise. In some cases, it's not just for an article, it may be for a book. So you have the ability then to get cited in the book. So this is a really fantastic source that you can tap into, you become a source for them. The site is a great source for you for finding access to reporters who are spot on targets for you. So if you're an accountant, you check off all the finance ones. And there's also a general one where you'll just see all the different topics that come out that reporters are seeking help with in a given day. So this is really and truly a phenomenal space for you to be present in. So if you hop over to Haro and register, that is going to be a great source for you. Another thing you can do is be charitable. Local charity events get press because feel-good stories are both a necessity and they provide local or national stories on something good. So you might be part of a local ride that's being done in 25 different cities, or it could be a local Long Island charity that's doing an event to help raise funds and awareness for what they do. And it is a great way for you to be aligned and have an opportunity to be covered, because you will be one of the good guys if you sponsor that event, if you join a committee, if you volunteer at the event. The coverage that comes from that event may get you and your business covered in a story. Additionally, as you are looking to develop your brand management, more than 80 to 85% of Americans say that when they have a choice between two companies, the one that they know to be charitable, if everything else is equal, they're choosing the charitable guy. So it's easily going to help enhance your business and your personal image to be allied with charitable efforts. Another thing you should do is look at Google Alerts. You cannot look at absolutely every newspaper, hear every radio show, or read every blog post. So in order to track placements, you can use Google Alerts. It's a wonderful tool for seeing how your PR efforts are doing. What happens is you will put in certain phrases. You will have one perhaps for your business's name, your industry. You can monitor your competition if you like. You can monitor a particular product or service that your business has. And what will happen is whenever they appear on the web, because it was talked about on a radio, because it was posted in an article, because it's on a blog, Google is going to send you an email with a notification that it is posted there. You can click right to it. You'll see how the story posed, and it's something then that you can save and keep a portfolio of all of your media and how you're doing. This is what it's going to look like when you go on to Google Alerts. It's going to offer you the option right here to create alerts. You're going to go to Google Alerts. In the box at the top, you enter the topic you want to follow. You also can choose how often you want those notifications. You can get them every time there is a posting. You can get one once a week. You can adjust that. The settings and the options. You can get it if English is not your primary language, you can get it in a language that you'd like. You can look at the different types of sites that can be tracked. So you can even determine if you want it only in the United States, only in New York, if you want it in Europe as well, or down in South America. So you can choose so many of the details and settings to really be specific and determine what you are looking for. And you can set different alerts for all different types of searchable efforts. And then when there is an article, you will be notified. Another thing you will want to do, and this is pretty critical, is having a media kit. It's really important because it provides a lot of background information that the reporters need without them having to sit and do a full-scale interview with you about everything related to your business. So the basic question, of course, is what is a media kit? It is a package of business information all about you or your business, and it's set up for the press. It is easiest if you keep it online. You can put it in your Dropbox. You can put it in any kind of online or cloud storage so that it's really easy to access. You do not, under any circumstances, want to give a reporter a package, a physical package any longer. They do not accept them. That was once acceptable up until the early 2000s. And as our nation and the world have gone digital, so have media kits. The last thing a reporter wants is a stack of paper where they're going to have to tool through it physically to find your media kit. It needs to be online, and you can have a link that goes directly to the reporter that will take them right to the page that they need to be at to access the information. So what goes into the kit? First of all, you need a one-page fact sheet about your business. You can have the history of your business, when it opened. If you have any special certifications, if that's relevant, you want to put that in. Put in contact information and your hours of operation. And of course, your services, your products, anything interesting that they need to know about your business. You want to have separately a bio for you and any other key people for the business. So if it's you and a business partner and the business is 50-50, you're going to have one bio for each of you. You're also going to have a headshot for each of you so that they have a photo to use whenever they need. You'll want to put in a copy of your logo for your business so that if they choose, instead of a headshot, perhaps they want to use the logo of your company, and that's what they're going to pop in there. And if there are any current news articles relevant to your business, you would want to include that in there as well. And periodically go in, make sure your bio is current, make sure your one-pager is current, and make sure you're pulling down old news stories and ensuring that the most current ones are in there. And whenever you pitch a story to the news about either you or your business, you're going to include a link right to that media kit. That is really what is necessary for you to be able to start sending out press releases and pitching story concepts to reporters. So at this point, I'm going to take some questions and answers, but I want you to have my contact information first. So again, my name is Tammy Severino, and I am Director of Development and Marketing. I'm the consultant to La Fuerza CDC. My email is tammy@lafuerzacdc.org, and my phone number is there if you have questions and want to follow up. After the webinar is done, if you think of something tomorrow, I am happy to answer.